thank you for being to the Making Your Data Flow with the Data Pipelines pilot. My name is Carolina Ruiz Medina, and I work as a principal developer. I'm a little bit nervous. Principal developer at Product Innovation in Financial Force. This is my email, and this is my Twitter handler. If you have any questions later on, and we don't have time here, you can always ping me, contact me, and I will try to answer the most honest way possible. Then, before I start, as a rule, I need to speak to you a little bit about Financial Force. Financial Force, we have a stand there. It's so quick there. We have offices. Our headquarters is in San Francisco. We have different applications, accounting, human resources, and we are over, as I say, offices in San Francisco, Chicago, Sydney. And for my English accent, you could think that I am based in Granada. But no, I am in the lovely Yorkshire, love. Then I live in Harrogate. I decided to move here because it was so hot there. Then I decided... You know, before I start again, I wanted to share with you this link because this past Dreamforce, we did a session based in data pipeline too, that you can go here and you can watch the video. And today, Agustina, my colleague and friend that did the session with me, was going to come because I say, oh, Agustina, I have a session again. You have to come with me and do the session again like we did in Dreamforce. But for obvious reasons, the doctor advised to don't come just in case we were going to be 3 presenters instead 2. And I say, okay, it's okay. Then this is what we are going to see today. We are going to see the data pipeline pilot, the overview. We are going to see some use cases that if you want to know a little bit more about other use cases that we have, but I didn't have time in 25 minutes to share with you, you can ask me later. We are going to see pipeline and wave. And we are going to see 2 pilots more, big objects or big data and a Synchronous Soco. It's like Semburis. We have 3 for 1, yeah? 3 pilots for 1. Okay, then starting the session, I would like to say to you, how many times have you found yourself or in a project where you try to do a really heavy lifting task, where you're trying to process a large amount of data and you are hitting yourself against the wall because you are trying to do it synchronously and you cannot because you have governor limits? Then the only way at the moment is to use the Synchronous Apex. And to use the Synchronous Apex, we have these processes here. You can use add future, queuable, and batch Apex. This is the way that we have at the moment to go through this million of records without hitting our head against the wall. But today, we are going to try to make it light work. We have a new feature, that is pipeline. It is also an asynchronous feature. And it's in this slide of the presentation because it's not Apex, but we will speak about that in a minute. Pipeline will improve the performance. It means that we are going to be able to process this large amount of data, this million of records, but without the time consuming that you have, for example, in a batch Apex process. It's going to be quicker. It's going to allow you to run parallel processes, exactly the same. Exactly. That would be fun in the video, right? Exactly the same as the asynchronous, right? And we are not going to hit governor limits because it's going to be not Apex. But please, please caution, this is a pilot, okay? And we don't know when it's going to be general available or if it's going to be, But at the moment, we are using it as a pilot and we are applying it to different use cases. Then a little overview about data pipeline and Pig script. Then we have Apache Peak in background. That is a mechanism. I like you here. Hello. Thank you for coming. Then we have Apache Peak in the background, right? This is a new mechanism that is going to give us the possibility to run processes, asynchronous processes in parallel to go through massive amount of data with a better performance. But the only thing that we need to know now is that we need to use Pig script. Pig script, that is a scripting language that is data flow language and is between SQL and Java. And another interesting thing about pipeline is that this technology is associated with Hadoop, Apache Peak. I think I'm going so fast, God. This is the Coke and the coffee. This is associated with Hadoop and Apache Peak, and it means that it can be run in different frameworks. And the interesting part for us is that Salesforce took it and can run it within Salesforce. But again, remember, is this Apex? No, it's not Apex. Then more about this data pipeline. The execution feature. Run asynchronously, okay. In parallel, okay. No governor limits. But now you are saying, well, if it's not Apex, where can I run this pipeline that you are telling me, these Pig scripts? How can I create it? Where should I need to go? Well, when you have enabled this pilot, where you can go is to the developer console. You will see now in a few minutes, I will show you some scripts, really simple. Don't be scared. Really simple. Through developer console, they can be created and run through developer console. They can be also created during the deploy, and you need the tooling API 33 onwards. But what else? It's an ETL, extract, transform, and load. Then we are going to go to a source. Source. See, I don't say object, I say source. Who knows which is the source? A source, we are going to take the data, we are going to transform, we are going to work with the data, and we are going to load the data. Basically, what we try to do sometimes too, with the batch, with the add future, and with the queuable. And this, as I work for an ISV, for us was also important to know if we have the ability to take these new Pig scripts, these new scripts, and we can put them in a package, and we can give them to the customer ready to submit the process and ready to run them. And yes, the pilot has this feature. Then, now that we speak Pig script, how does it look like? This is a Pig script, 2 lines, simple 2 lines. As you can see, it's really simple. We have always a load that we are going to point to which source we are going to extract the data from, and we are going to have a store that this is going to point out where is it going to be. Then these 2 lines is going to do the job for me. And what are the operators that we can also use? Because at the moment here it's like you are extracting from one side and you are putting it in another side. Take the idea, because we are going to speak about that, the way to create an archive with big objects. But in next slides. Then we use the operators, right? If we want to do transformation with the data, like we do in the batch, we can use these operators. And you will see in the examples that I have today for you, the use cases that I'm going to go through, they have some of these operators. And now, when I was saying where I'm going from and where I'm going to, I can start the process in an S-object, and I can finish the process in an S-object. It means that I'm going to get data from an S-object, and I'm going to store data in an S-object. I can start the process in an S-object, and I can store the data in a file. I can start the process in a file, and I can store from the file to the S-object. I can even join 2 objects like an account and an opportunity. And I can take the data from an S-object, and I can put it in a big object or big data. Therefore, I won't have storage limits, because the big objects won't count against the storage. It doesn't have the same counting like the custom objects. Then this is a possible use case that I was thinking, oh, where can I use pipeline? Oh, why we don't use it for currency revaluation? Some of you know, right? Then we have a process that has to go through a lot of financial transactions. And this currency revaluation is a really big process that takes time, because it has to process these financial transactions. And then the only thing that it needs to do is prepare them for later on the user to report or run a simple, small process, the finished process to revaluate. Then this is one possible use case that we thought could be beneficial for us. And this is starting in an S-object, our financial transaction, and ending into another into another custom object that is currency revaluation. And obviously, this is the solution. Basically, what I do here simply is I'm going through the invoice transactions. I'm going to group them by, in this case, account, dimension, and GLA. And then they are going to be stored in my target object, that is currency revaluation. Then with these lines, I'm going to be able to process, you will see in the demo that I'm going to show you, I was able to process 377,000 records in 2 minutes and I think 80 seconds. Then the next use case, I have to go so fast to tell you everything. The next use case is similar, but what is going to happen now is that I'm going to start in an S object and I'm going to end in a file. How many times do you find out that you are, okay, data loader, but I need to repeat the process a lot of times because data loaders also have limitations. I can use pipeline to take information from one org to another org. Then I can take this large amount of data using pipeline quickly. The admin can be in charge of that. And even the dev or product services can say, okay, guys, no worries, I'm going to take that, I'm going to use pipeline, I'm going to do it for you. This could be the next use case. Then what we do here, as I showed you before, we are going to take from invoice transactions, again, and we are going to store it into a file. Obviously, you will be thinking, but the file has also limits. Yes, I have to consider that. I'm not going to lie. Then this is the script. And then I have here the developer console, right? Then I have my log, and I'm going to see the different status that you are going to pass from one to another. You will have a schedule, load, process, store, and success if it's successful, but you will have fail if it's failed, because also it can fail. Then this will be the result that you will get, as we all know. Pipeline and wave, this is the next use case. Well, imagine that now I want to do reports in my data. Then I want to take the data that I have in my Salesforce objects, and I want to, in my custom objects, and I want to take them and put them into the data set. There is different ways to extract the data. One of them is saying from the wave app, from the data set that exists in wave, you can say, I want to take this object. But also you can say from Salesforce part, you can say, I'm going to send you these ones. And I'm going to process them before I send you to the data set. This is the demo that I'm going to show you, pipeline with wave. Then I have my reporting balances that I group them by period, and I'm going to send them to a data set that I have in wave, and I'm going to tell where the values are going to be. And again, I say, where is my source and what is my target? And this time, I start in a custom object, and I end in a data set that belongs to wave. Then the demo, I was thinking, oh God, I need to do it faster. Then I was thinking in something that represents this. Then I put a little song in the background that reminds me the fast. Okay, that's enough. And here is, where are my reporting balances? Okay, these are my reporting balances, and you will be thinking, how many of them are there? There are 377, as I said before, okay? And I'm going to take all these 377,000 reporting balances. I'm going to group them by period. All of them, I'm going to group them together, and I want to send them quickly to wave. Then I run it, I click that button, and then I will see that this is scheduled, my script is scheduled and will run. This is my data set before the objects, the records have been processed. I only have 2 of them at the moment. Then I'm coming back, I see how it is. Oh, it is in a store, it is in a store. Then let's check if it is storing actually in my data set. Then I'm going to refresh here the tab that I have, and I am refreshing, and I'm going to see if I have all the 377,000. Yes, I have them grouped, and I have them in data in here, in my wave application. And because and that was only this script, okay? Only 4 lines of code. And I was, oh yes, pipeline. Yeah, it's quick, fast, I can group, I can process, I can do, I can join. There is also a not so nice part. There are limitations. I only have 20 operators and 20 loads and 10 stores per script. I can only run 30 scripts a day. Well, we need to think what are the priority processes. The bulk API limitations, bulk, not bulk. I know that I am from the north, but bulk. The bulk API limitations are in place because when you do the store, it's using the bulk API. And here, this line that say, you can break Salesforce rule, is true, this is good. But it means that when you have a validation, when you have a trigger, when you have something, and you try to create records through pipeline, you will say, oh, it's cool, it's going to insert them. No, it's going to respect those validations. It's going to respect those rules, but it's going to die in silence. That's true too. It's going to say, yeah, I finished successfully. Where are my records? What's going on? No, he died in silence. Then here, another thing is when you start, there is no way back. When you go to the dark side, it's so weird that you come to the clear side, right? Then when you start the process, when you click submit, if this process runs, there is no way at the moment to stop it. Think that in a synchronous Apex, you have a way to stop. Well, at future now. You know that you can abort, but this in pipeline you can't. Then here, this is not all, of course not. What I was saying before, I was suggesting something to arrive here. I was going to my invoices, right? And you have to store all the invoices in your system in custom objects. What does it mean? That the user, the client, has to pay for that storage, right? But what if I have something else to take that invoices, that transactions that I only use for audit purposes, and I only use several fields, not the whole record? What if I can take them and I can save them in another place in order to don't be against my storage, and in order for later on, if I want to query them, I can use them. Because I know that I can load them using pipeline. Yes, I can load them using pipeline. I can query also using a Synchronous Circle. This is the 3-for-1 that we are going to see today. Then, big data pilot. Big data, also known as a big objects, is the pilot that is going to allow us to do that, to get the records that are in the custom object and save them in this big object. Big objects. And it's a composition of Hadoop and Salesforce. Eso, that's it. Attention, please. Caution, as I say, pilot. We don't know when it's going to be generally available, okay? And we don't know if it's going to be GA at some point. But we know, as I say, we are using it, we are testing our use cases, we are also giving them feedback, and seems it's going okay. Then big data, how does it look? These big objects, oh, big objects, they are cooler than the normal one. Oh, yeah. Well, they are in the same place. Start there, relax, right? Okay, they are in the same place. You only need to go to setup, and they are going to appear just below the custom objects. One thing at the moment is that we can only create them through metadata. You don't have the UI that you have with custom objects, right? You can only create it through metadata. And you say, oh, but they look really similar. Then is there a new type? Well, no. There is no new type. In the package XML, they are going to be treated like a custom object. Then I'm going to recognize what is a big object and what is a custom object. Well, we have a new underscore B, big B. This is the way that we are going to know when it's a big object and when not. Then, oh, it's so beautiful, Carolina. Then I can pass all my records using pipeline, or maybe using asynchronous, and I put it in my big objects, and then I can query them after because I will have millions and billions of them. Oh, yes, you can. But there is no downside? Well, there is goods, and there is not so goods, but there are goods. Then we have the big objects compared with the custom object. We have the creation, that here is manual and metadata, here is only metadata. We have the underscore B, and we have here that we cannot report. And you say, but you told me that I can report in big objects. Yes, if you put big objects on a synchronous circle together. Then the field types, I can have all types here. But in big objects, I only have text, datetime, lookup, and number by the moment. Seems like they are liking these big objects and they are investing in them. Let's see. Am I able to edit the fields that I store in the big objects? Am I able to, this data that I am putting in my archive, I'm able to edit this data? At the moment, no. Oh, yes, I know. At the moment, no. We cannot edit the data. We cannot delete the data. We need to say, hello, I would like to delete my data. Could you please delete it for me? Yes. They do it for you. And the last thing is, as I was saying all the time, is like, how can we populate this record? Through bulk API, SOAP API, data pipeline, and a synchronous Soco. Then obviously, anything else. Yes, you've been speaking all this time about asynchronous Soco. What is asynchronous Soco? Well, we know what is a Soco. But we have a synchronous Soco now. Obviously, it's going to be a query that is going to run asynchronously. That's it. I know. Yeah, I couldn't resist to put also sound in that one. Then caution is pilot. How is going to be presented a synchronous Soco at the moment for us? It's because it reminds me the 18, and I couldn't resist. Then I put, they are going to be presented, the asynchronous Soco is going to be presented through RESTful API. REST, yes. And this is the part. We are not going to have timeouts. How painful it is to run a query. Timeout, what? No. Okay, filter and filter and filter and filter. Here, no. You are going to, thank you. Are going to be able to go through millions and billions of records using this REST call. You're going to be able to query them, take the data set that you would like, put it in your Salesforce, and do the reports on it. Then Carolina, what is the difference between a synchronous Soco and pipeline? Because I am confusing. I can use pipeline and I can use a synchronous Soco. Yes, at the moment we have these 3 pilots, as I said to you before, Sainsbury's, 3 for 1. Then we have a synchronous Soco and we have data pipeline. The difference here is that in data pipeline we can use files. Here, not yet. In here, the technology is Apache Peak, therefore you will need to understand that too. But here, you don't. You actually don't need that. You will see in the demo how easily and understandable and how come to your mind that you are using this every day. Then obviously I wanted to show you one use case that I have with big objects and a synchronous Soco. This is the use case that we were speaking about. I have my billion of rows here. I have my asynchronous Soco subset, and I take it here in order to run reports, okay? But the other one that I really like is the archive, okay? Is how to create the archive. Then I'm going to read my data. I'm going to use a synchronous Soco, and I'm going to store it in big object. Then I can do the 2 ways. I'm going to go to big objects, but also I can come from big objects. You see? This is really, really clear for us. We've been using this. It's normal, okay? The only thing that you are going to see new is this part here. We are going to be able to do a query against our invoices. We are going to tell where it's going to be stored, and this is going to be the target object, and this is going to be the data. Then, the demo. So simple. This is where you are going to find it. Setup. This is where you are going to click big objects. You can see here several of the big objects that we have. Also in the description, you will see that they say, oh, you can use a synchronous Soco and pipeline. Therefore, we say, oh, yeah, give us that pilot too. Then we are going to invoice history. Invoice history is going to be our target object. And we have here the 4 fields that I was showing you before that are the ones that I need for my audit purposes, for my clients, in order to report in that invoices. Then I went to my workbench that I thought that was really quick and simple, but you can do this through code. You can have your REST call in your code. You can call to it. And you can put the query invoice. You can put the invoice history, okay, the big object. You put your fields, And then the only thing that you need to do is execute it. And as you can see, it's a post call, okay? And this is the body. And then you have here, it's loading. And when it's loading, you're going to have a job ID. And you say, oh, well, this is asynchronous. It's done. No, it is asynchronous, exactly. Then if I want to check the status of my process, I can also check the status of my process to know when it's finished and when my data has been already saved in my archive. Then I only will need to do, I will need to take this job ID, I will need to put it in the call, and then I will need to execute. Hey, it is not a post, it's a get. Obviously, it's a get. Then we have here, obviously, say method not allowed, and then it say status running. And it takes more or less than pipeline. I'm not going to lie to you. Maybe it took a little bit more, but comparing, it was really, really fast. And now is when we have we have our result. Okay? Then, as a summary, I'm just nearly time. As a summary, I have the 3-4-1. Pipeline, performance, beautiful, run scripts in parallel, and no governor limits. But we need to know about Pig scripts. We have the limitations. Big data and a synchronous circle. You can build your archive for your clients. You can have a data-driven application. You can have the analytics on it. In a synchronous circle, you have no timeout. You can process more than 50 million records. But remember, these 3 pilots, this is like being in the apprentice final. You are in the boardroom, and you don't know which pilot is going to be higher or which one is going to be fire. Then with that, is my session ending.